Hey everyone, welcome once again to yet another episode of Two Noobs Talking. It's episode 125. Bam! Coming right at you.
Woo!
With me, of course, is the OG, the original guy who started the whole damn thing and who brought me along kicking and screaming, John Tracy. Of course, I'm Matt Craig. Steve is out on the other side of the state of Pennsylvania in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with his son at a hockey tournament. Steve, we miss you. Hope you're doing well. But Johnny, how you doing, man? What's going on in Texas? How are you?
I miss Steve already.
I do too. I do too. Him and his extra half an hour that we miss every single of his analyses. No, we're joking. Of course.
So what Matt says is we're going to talk really slow.
Very, very slowly. Especially now, since I did back-to-back hit sessions, Johnny. I'm telling you, man, alive. Just don't do those things, man.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
No, thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah. No, thank you, indeed. But yeah, episode 125 of Two Noobs Talking. Rocking and rolling already, and we're having a ton of fun. I know. It's just like once ever, it's, oh gosh, it's crazy. But why don't we go right into the fun fact and over 40 rant, Johnny. Of course, they're sponsored by W Energy Drinks. Go to w.gg. And of course, if you go there and place an order, there's a promo code that you can use. It's Two Noobs Talking, T-O-O, Two Noobs Talking. And you get 10% off your order. So again, starter cup. I think there's a shaker involved in there somewhere.
Yeah,
$15.
And a couple flavors, so you can try all the flavors, which sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, it sounds pretty good. So again, w.gg. Place your order today. Give it a shot. See what you got. Johnny,
yes.
What do you have for us? Yeah.
So as we all know, Matt is a huge Lego fan. So I did some diving last night into Lego facts that I found cool, and I wanted to bring one today.
Love
so
it.
I don't know anything, and I learned through Two Noobs. There were over 3 million Lego bricks were used to build a life-size house in England with a working shower, toilet, and bed.
Oh my gosh.
That's what I'm saying.
That's wild. 3 million. My God.
Over 3 million.
That's crazy.
I couldn't find an exact number. Everybody who wrote on the story, they wrote over 3 million. But that is
over 3 million.
Yeah. Yeah. Could you
can't even imagine. No, that would definitely
life-size house.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, a lot of the Legos that I've done usually average between 2 and 3, maybe close to 4,000 pieces if pushing it. Maybe the most I've ever done is probably, if I had to guess, 3,500, maybe. But 3 million?
Yeah.
And it would take me those sets, I should say, those 3,000 piece sets, generally take me about a week to build. So if you're talking 3 million, that's going to be at least a couple months, easily.
Probably the same as a normal construction for a house, if you think about it. Like, you build a house with it.
Oh my gosh, that's nuts! Wow, I can't even imagine living in a Lego house either. That would be like, cool. I mean, what would be like the carpeting? That kind of a deal. I mean, you'd have to really watch out for stepping on those Legos, Johnny. They're dangerous. They are really dangerous. Let me tell you.
My question is, can you heat a Lego house? I don't think it's possible.
I don't think it's possible either. No, I mean, that fireplace would have to be very well protected. That's for sure. In that regard, otherwise it's a fake one. You just maybe brick the a flame in there, and it's kind of.
I'd be okay with that. I
would be fine with that too. Yeah. So what do you got us the rant? Do you have the rant ready?
Yes, my rant is ready.
Oh,
my rant is at the center of everybody's attention to what Skip Bayless just said, and it's not about what Skip Bayless said. I expect him to say awful things all the time. That's what he does for money. So that's not my problem. My problem is with the NFL. The fact that the NFL is still not doing anything to solve this problem that gives the fuel to these idiots to say stupid shit like Skip Bayless did.
Yeah.
Like Roger Goodell is the most inept human being I've ever seen in a position. Like he can't do anything right. He
It's really
tries
amazing.
so hard and fails at everything he does. It's unbelievable.
I don't think I've ever seen a commissioner like that, Johnny. You're exactly right on that. And you're right. I mean, that ineptness brings you to Skip Bayless, who says, that basically black coaches aren't getting hired because of their wives.
White owner, old white owners' wives.
Don't hire black coaches because of their wives.
Yes.
I mean, how? Like, seriously? I mean, really?
But as stupid as that comment was, look at the NFL. How many black coaches are there?
Yeah, they're not many. I know Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but the thing is, it isn't about black and white. I'm sure there is just as many black coaches that are qualified to be head coaches that there are white coaches. But the NFL can't get past the 1950s. They do this. They do this good old boys network again. Sean Payton gets hired for another job. This recycling of these good old boys is why people look at them like that. Nobody cares about the color of the coach. Mike Tomlin's a hell of a coach, and he's there for a reason because he's just as qualified as everybody else in the NFL. But they can't get it. The NFL cannot get it right. They can't put a rule to fix the problem, and that's what they did. The Rooney Rule was a failed attempt of fixing the problem. Oh, you got to interview one minority. It's a culture change. It has nothing to do with a rule. It's a culture change. If these owners aren't on board, then these owners need to be forced to sell the team. It is a corporation that you can do that. You can force these owners out and get some owners in that actually have brains.
Yeah, exactly. I think your big point, though, of culture change is exactly right. The Rooney Rule did work initially, but now it's to a point where it's as though it's treated as if it's a checklist. Okay, I have to make sure this is done in order to comply. Well, now that's come and gone. And to your point, there are a lot of qualified black head coaches out there.
Yeah.
The problem is
Eric
the
Bieniemy,
culture.
Deuce Staley. They should be head coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the fact that they're not is a travesty. It's an absolute travesty. But the only way this changes is if you have that culture change that comes in and doesn't look at the color of the skin, not necessarily, but looks at what they have done, from start to finish in their entire career and what can they bring to the table. And if you're able to bring that to me, awesome. As an owner, awesome. That kind of a deal. As opposed to, well, I have to bring this person in order to make sure that my head coach was qualified. Jonathan Gannon is a great example. Jonathan Gannon should not be a head coach.
I agree.
And yet he is. He is because of his enthusiasm. I suppose he also gave up 38 points in the Super Bowl too. So
but that's also how Arizona works. They just want the next shiniest object. So, but that's what I mean by culture change. Why can't? And this starts at the commissioner. Maybe we need to get rid of the commissioner. Maybe that's the first move in the culture change.
I have long said on this podcast, Steve Murray should be the next commissioner of the NFL. And I stand by that 100%. And I will always stand by that 100% because of what
Steve, I need a job.
Means, so,
Steve, I want a job. If you
as long as I get VP of scheduling, that's all I care about. I'll be the vice president of scheduling.
There you go. I want to work. I want to work with the genius Troy Vincent. That's why I want to work on the player side. Troy Vincent's a genius. I want to work with that guy. That guy is amazing at what he's done for this game.
Yeah, exactly. And like I said, put me in for scheduling. I would love to do a schedule where it's like, you don't have that forced, divisional game at the end of week 18 all the time. You can always mix it up and mix it around and things like that. Flexible scheduling, things along those lines. So see how that goes. But yeah.
Rant is over.
Great rant, Johnny. Love it. Love it. Well, let's go ahead then and move into topic 1. And this actually might be my rant, over 40 rant.
There we go.
In regards to this one. Topic 1, headline from fortune.com, Bare Minimum Monday is the latest workplace trend hitting productivity. Oh boy. Monday blues. Yeah, exactly. Let's read this LinkedIn article, shall we, Johnny? Monday blues, that inertia people feel about starting the work week after a weekend. Oh boy. Are one of the more common problems among working people. You don't say. In a 2021 poll by YouGov, 58% of the 4,000 people surveyed responded that Monday was their least favorite day of the week. John, really? I would have never guessed that.
I'm shocked.
I'm shocked at this too. A new way of dealing with that problem, though, is one of the latest workplace trends, and one that's not likely to make businesses happy. Bare Minimum Mondays, or version of the Monday blues with potential ramifications to employee productivity. It's a practice where employees show up to work, but only do the bare minimum. I feel like this is like from Office Space, that great movie back in the late 90s. As long as you have 17 pieces of flair, you should be fine.
Exactly. I mean, it's exactly.
Yeah. You only do the bare minimum on a Monday, often starting the day late after a productive morning of self-care rituals. I guess you have to stretch before you get out of bed, maybe do a yoga pose. I don't know. The term has been popularized by Marissa Joe, a TikToker, no surprise. Describes it as a way for her to quell the work pressure and hold herself accountable to completing the least amount of work necessary to get by that day. Really?
Sounds like it would come from a Chinese app.
670,000 views. Johnny, that's my problem. We're getting there on the shorts, by the way, but 670,000 views, this woman.
Yeah.
What the heck? In a video, she described the trend as a rejection of all the pressure I felt on Sunday and Monday, and prioritizing well-being over productivity instead of giving in to the hustle culture. What hustle culture? I don't know what's going on there. I had to tell myself to do the bare minimum in order to not make myself sick over how productive I was being. Oh boy. She compares the practice to a trend like quiet quitting, blah, 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 blah. It's a viral trend. It's just the latest on a long list of new trends shaping the workplace in the wake of the COVID pandemic. Yada, 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 yada. Johnny, thoughts?
I told you a wise man from a very, 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 very large company told me over lunch one time. This is and I paraphrase, but he literally, I won't curse like he did. This is what we got to do to get these millennials to work.
Yeah,
it's amazing to me. Mondays suck. Mondays are my Monday. Yeah. This is Saturday. Tomorrow's Sunday. My next day of work is a bear of a not gonna be fun long day that I wish was maybe Wednesday or Thursday, but those the breaks, kid. So the scheduling fell that way. I've had self-care is what you do on your off time. Like if you are, I don't understand using company time for self-care. It makes no sense to me. Like I saw another TikTok video that made sense to me. It was a guy, he owns a septic company in North Carolina, and he's pretty famous on TikTok. But he was talking about an employee that was like, why am I not paid as much as the rest of them? And he was like, oh, this is a conversation I want to have with this employee. And he was like, well, first of all, you come in, you clock in, then you're in the bathroom for 30 minutes. You're only trained in one of our 5 fields. You're the slowest person on the job, and you complain about not getting paid like the rest of them. Companies don't have companies are not against people. They're really not. If you come in
No.
and do your job, not even over your job, most companies are like,
Mhm.
oh, I need this person to stick around. So they'll pay you equivalent to what they're paying everybody else. I don't understand
Mhm.
this mentality that everybody's out to screw everybody else. It makes
I
no
don't
sense. And
get
this
it
is where
either.
these trends come
Yeah.
from.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
my boss has the
Um,
time to worry about screwing me out of something. He's working just
yeah.
as hard as I am. He doesn't have that kind of
Yeah,
time.
exactly. If not more. Exactly. And it's
Yeah.
literally what kills me about this too is that there is a career trends expert at Glassdoor in this article, a career trends expert, pointed out that burnout hit records numbers last year in 2022. And she told Fortune this quote. This is really gets me, Johnny. Quote, this means that despite all the changes, despite more flexibility, more remote work, we're not getting that work-life balance right. Are you kidding me with this
Of
quote?
course, of course we're
I
not. Like,
yeah.
there's no such thing as work-life balance. You
If
need to
well,
you need to
exactly.
take it when
We kind of
you
talked
need
about
to
that with
take it.
Bezos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to take
Mhm.
it when you can take it. If you're going on
Yeah.
vacation, screw the work phone. If you're
Yeah.
on a week or two's vacation, I get a ton of vacation time. I get a ton of time off with my company. I love it. You know what I don't
Yeah.
do? I don't focus on work when I have that off time. But
Yeah.
when I'm on, and my wife knows this.
Yeah.
Like, when the phone goes off at 6 in the morning, I'm picking it up
Mhm.
because
Mhm.
because it's work time. I
Yeah.
You have to balance it the best way for you. I think I have a pretty good work-life balance. I don't feel overworked. I don't feel underworked. I don't feel underappreciated. I feel like I do my job at the best of my ability, and I feel like I have a family life at the best of my ability. And
Absolutely.
I don't think I'm lacking on either, because when it's time to be on, I'm on. When it's time to be off, I'm off.
Off. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
simple.
I would say at the time of this recording, for sure, I do feel like a little underworked at this moment, and that's only because of the nature of the business. It's not
Yeah.
necessarily the
Yeah.
business itself. It's just the downtime of it is really low, and there's not much going on. And so you have to find ways at work in order to feel like you're more productive. You got to find ways to be able
Yeah.
to contribute more. For me,
Yeah.
it's been Lean Six Sigma. That's been huge for me. Process improvement, thinking of ways to try and create value and add value to the company. When I read an article like this is where I'm getting into the brief rant, Johnny. When I read an article like
Please
this,
do. Get him, Matt.
this person is incredibly lazy. This person is not qualified to be in any position in any job. If they are basically making a post out there on a social media site to skate by on Mondays, then I'm not trusting you Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to get stuff done. You have an obligation when you're working 40 hours, you have to go in and give me those 40 hours to the absolute best of your ability. And for you to kind of just sit there and go, oh, I don't really want to go in. I dread going in on Sunday night, going into work on Monday morning. Change jobs.
Yes.
Change your job.
Yeah.
Do something else that you know that you can add value to the company. If you're at that kind of a point where you go into a job and you're not contributing and you're not adding value and you know it, leave. Find another position, find another career, do whatever you have to do, go back to whatever you have to do, add value to the company. Don't sit there on TikTok. Oh, well, this is what I do to get by. I basically, kind of roll out of bed at 9:00, and then I have to get a cup of coffee, and then I'll do yoga for about an hour. And it's like by 10, then I'll go to work. No, you need to step it up. You got to get up out of bed, get going at that point. And that's what really kind of pissed me off when I was reading this article. It's 670,000 views on how to basically coast in on Mondays. Johnny, what I mean? Come on.
The thing is, if you're good at your job, you can make it to where Mondays isn't as hard as maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. That's the thing that people
Bingo.
don't talk about. Like, you can, if you're good at your job, you know how to slide out on Friday. You slide in on Mondays and slide out on Fridays without ruining your productivity. It took me many years to learn that, but I don't work as hard as I do Monday or Friday, but dag nabbit on Wednesdays and Thursdays, you're putting in the extra work to make sure that you don't get hung up.
Yeah, exactly right. Yeah, and I think probably the warning shot, just to close this out, is if it gets to a point, like I mentioned before, if it gets to a point where you are dreading coming into work on Monday, that's a problem.
Yeah, that's a game changer.
Rather than just skate by, change that game, to your point, Johnny. Change that game and change that narrative. You have every right to do it. Go someplace where you know that you can add value to an organization, as opposed to just skating by. All right, Johnny, topic 2, episode 125 of Two Noobs. Let's dive in, shall we? We got another, well, I guess this is the first one this year that we're talking Elon Musk, right? I mean, we were talking about him all of last year. It drove us nuts. U.S. investigating Elon Musk's Neuralink over hazardous pathogens. Uh-oh. This is not good. The U.S. Department of Transportation not only is botching everything over in East Palestine, Ohio,
and everywhere else on this planet,
with the supply chain, but they said on Thursday it's investigating Elon Musk's brain plant company Neuralink over the potentially illegal movement of hazardous pathogens. A Department of Transportation spokesperson told Reuters about the probe after the Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine, which sounds incredibly corrupt.
and made up.
Yeah. It's an animal welfare advocacy group, wrote to the illustrious Secretary of Transportation, Pete Buttigieg, who has not visited East Palestine, Ohio, earlier on Thursday to alert it of records it obtained on the matter. The PCRM said it obtained emails and other documents that suggest unsafe packaging and movements of implants removed from the brains of monkeys. These implants may have carried infectious diseases in violation of federal law. The DOT spokesperson said the agency took PCRM's allegations very seriously. Quote,
"We are conducting an investigation to ensure that Neuralink is in full compliance with federal regulations and keeping their workers and the public safe from potentially dangerous pathogens," the spokesperson said. Representatives
and it has absolutely nothing to do with former Twitter executives being on Capitol Hill.
No.
No, has nothing to do with that. No,
that's nothing whatsoever to do.
Okay. Nothing to see here moving forward. Okay.
The Department of Transportation probe adds the scrutiny facing Neuralink, which is developing a brain implant it hopes will help paralyzed people walk again. Oh my.
Yes.
And cure other neurological ailments. It is important, yes, and it's a worthy goal, but it's also very, very scary.
Yes.
In December, Reuters reported that Neuralink had been under a federal investigation over potential animal welfare violations, and that some of its staff made internal complaints about experiments being rushed, causing needless suffering and deaths. So, Johnny, you got some problems here with Neuralink, brain implants and hazardous pathogens. Never mind what's going on in East Palestine.
Yes, I find it hilarious that this is news when the other things happen, like I just said.
Well,
but
this
should be handled if it's going on. But why did they run to the media? That's my question. That's my biggest question. This should be handled. This is a federal problem. They are transporting. Yep. They're not doing what they're supposed. Allegedly, they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and they should get the hammer for that. They should be fined for that. Why the public smear though? That's what I don't understand. Like, I understand that there could be an issue and there's some complaints, and that should be dealt with by a government
Mhm.
agency. I have no issue with that. I'm
Mhm.
just a little. I'm a little. My ears are going up a little on the. Oh, you run to the media and it's a public just go after the man that dropped the
Yeah,
Twitter
that's
files.
try yeah, exactly. And it's interesting that I mean the company Neuralink is partnering with UC Davis, University
Hmm.
of California, Davis.
Yeah.
And the reason that's important is because UC Davis is actually performing these experiments on the primates and these monkeys. So this issue, if the company is indeed transporting these
Hmm.
pathogens illegally, is a very serious issue,
Oh,
obviously.
absolutely,
But
absolutely.
yeah, exactly. But we also are dealing with something that I mean, I've never heard of this group before in my life. The Physicians Committee of Responsible Medicine.
Yeah,
That's
it,
very
it seems
interesting.
made up. And just so everybody know, just so everybody knows, I have a DOT license, so I kinda understand DOT
Yep.
with the Department of Transportation.
About transportation. Yeah.
And I actually work with a guy who had a CDL and went through this. They're
Mm.
not getting through these checkpoints
Mm.
without
Mhm.
that proper paperwork or proper labeling, especially
Mhm.
in California, from what I heard of. Uh,
Mhm.
Driving have a CDL driver in there, those laws are the book is the guy that I work with told me the book is this thick, and if you don't get a violation, that means the
Wow.
guy wasn't reading the book. Um,
Oh, gee.
they
Wow.
because you can get a violation for literally anything. I don't understand why it's coming out like almost like a Gestapo move, like, "Oh, we're gonna
Mhm.
get them." This from what I know of the DOT, they would have gotten them already because you
Yeah.
can't transport. Our system is
Yeah.
pretty decent.
Yeah. In fact, I mean, these incidents, they're saying, Johnny, happened in 2019. I mean, they apparently, like, if you read the article, this Reuters articles, the incidents that involved potential breaches of hazardous material transportation regulations happened in 2019. That's like 4 years ago
Yeah,
now.
that's what I'm
Um,
saying, and that would probably
yeah,
was already dealt with because if they pulled over into
sure.
a stop, they're checked.
Yeah.
You gotta
Yeah.
have
It's
your
almost like
right.
I was just going to ask you, like, since you are involved in a DOT with the license and everything, I see way stations all the
Yeah.
time with tractor
I don't
trailers.
thank God I do not drive a DOT truck.
Okay.
I drive below the limit, but I do for the company, I do have a DOT license just in case I have to drive a
Okay.
DOT truck. And but
Mhm.
you have to have your paperwork in order. You're not getting out of there
Mhm.
if not.
Mhm.
You always
Are
have to
you
have
like
your paperwork in
required?
order.
I was just going to say, are you required then, like, if you're driving a DOT truck, are you only allowed to drive like certain number of miles an hour,
Yeah.
or
Well, yeah, well,
yeah?
miles, hours, you have to follow
Gotcha.
whatever your
Mm-hmm.
size is. Just like the
Mm-hmm.
truck drivers have to have a 30, what is it, 36-hour reset? If I'm wrong, please in the comments let me know. I think it's a 36-hour
Yeah.
reset CDL,
Mm-hmm.
but they have to have
Mm-hmm.
proper paperwork for the load they're carrying.
Oh wow. Okay. And I guess that makes sense in that regard. It's like if you're
Yeah.
certain transporting like any kind of other, like if it is a hazardous material, or if
Yeah,
you are
there is some kind
transporting
of
sensitive
federal law. Yeah, there's
documentation.
it's kind of
Mhm.
some kind of Department of Transportation for anything. Even there's I don't know much about it, but if the people that transport the organs, they have to have
Mm.
certain paperwork, certain labels on their. I think they do it by van, but they have to do
Mm.
everything. It's not as cut and dry as this article is making it. They're sneaking into
Yeah.
California. That's not how it works. Like
No.
there's so many laws in place, especially from the Department of
Mhm.
Transportation for trucks and stuff like that that make it almost impossible to do your job.
Sure. Sure. I mean, we're also like, I was being a little bit cheeky when it came across when we were talking about like East Palestine, Ohio. And in case if you haven't been under a rock, obviously it was a train derailment.
Yes.
And with vinyl chloride being transported, it's basically made in PC, I think in PVC piping. And they decided to basically, in a controlled detonation, blow up essentially that particular truck, spewing hundreds of thousands of particles into the air. I mean, it was a black plume. Some of the photos there are absolutely horrific, and it's like, what on earth are they doing? In that regard. And so my thought process is, here you got Norfolk Southern transporting a highly dangerous classified, highly dangerous material, not classified, but highly dangerous material, and then all of a sudden it's being released into that particular area of the country in a rail country area, and it's like that is okay, and yet they're, pardon the pun, this PCRM group is going apeshit over this. This is not even close.
It's bizarre
to what was going on in East Palestine. It's like one, I know one is not the other, but at the same time, it's kind of like.
But it's transportation and it's documentation, and like I said in the beginning, like if Elon Musk's company, if Neuralink is doing this, and if the fact that it was in 2020, they would have already been fined. It seems a little screwy.
I would say, and the fact that it's like at least 4 years later, it's kind of like, really? Like, this should have been addressed like immediately. And the fact that it wasn't, I think that says a lot too. All right, Johnny. Now one for the weird file, topic 3.
I aim to please in taking over.
I mean, we got to do it for Steve here.
The weird file. So.
Yeah, exactly. Steve, we're thinking of you in regards to this article because this is wild. From the New York Post, NBA fans slam $40. You heard right, $40 Oreos with team logos. Do cookies reappear? That's the headline of the article. Oreo lovers slam dunked the maker of the cheap sweet treat for peddling a limited edition NBA themed version of the cookie for $40 per box. The promotion by Oreo maker Mondelez offers packs of 12 NBA themed cookies that feature the team logos and colors of all 30 franchises, timed to coincide with next week's NBA All-Star Weekend in Salt Lake City. But some fans were in for some sticker shock when they noticed the price of those Oreo packs are $39.95, not including delivery. A regular box of Oreos at the supermarket costs around $4. One Twitter user quipped, Johnny, quote, "For $40, do the cookies reappear after I eat them?"
That is the best tweet of this.
That is the best tweet. Another Twitter user wrote this, quote, "Yes, of course I want those NBA logo Oreos, but at $40 a pack, 0% chance." Another one commented, quote, "There are some pricey cookies, especially since they're like $4 a bag at Safeway." Another Twitter user replied, "You keep the box." Yeah, and an hysterically laughing emoji. The post, of course, saw a comment from Oreo's parent company, Mondelez International, and the National Basketball Association. In March of 21, NBA and Mondelez signed a multi-year marketing and licensing agreement that included the initial launch of the limited edition NBA Dynasty Oreo packs. We're going to throw them up on screen so you guys have an idea of what we're looking at here. Of course, feature the logos of some of the franchises on the cookies. Oreo, of course, recently unveiled its Oreo ID technology, where customers can customize their own cookies to include messages and even photos of themselves. The new colorful designs feature the team logos in the white creamy middle between the two chocolate covers. Of course, Mondelez, they also make Chips Ahoy, Nutter Butter, Sour Patch Kids, Ritz Crackers, etc. By the way, just as a side note, the Chicago-based confectionery conglomerate announced last year that it would hike prices of its products by 7%. Because of inflation.
Of course.
Johnny, $40 for a box of limited edition NBA cookies. Slam dunk here, or we bricking the rim here with this? My goodness gracious. What do you think? Big sip of beer.
I hate this as much as I hate LeBron.
Love it.
The NBA logos are so cool, though.
They are.
So I get it. I mean, they're trying to put this thing out. They're partnering with the NBA. This is bad on the NBA. This has nothing to do with Oreo. Oreo's doing the right thing. They're grabbing onto the first person that will agree that has a large base and blah blah blah. Like Oreo doesn't care if this is a flop. They're getting the press from it. The NBA is so terrible at business. You don't even know your clientele. Like, this is the dumbest thing I've ever. Nobody who likes the NBA is going to buy NBA Oreo cookies. I mean, I'm sure there's collectors out there and blah 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 that's going to do this, but this is what a bad look. It's again
$40
commissioner problem. Yeah, $40 for limited edition things you have to eat or they're going to go bad.
Yeah. That's the one thing that really struck me, obviously, was the fact that this price is just astronomical as compared to like $40, or as I should say, as compared to $4. I wonder if that would be like doing the math, what that would be. But I mean, it's crazy. We'll have to check that math with Steve in terms of the price reduction. But I mean, nuts. Absolutely crazy. And I get it too, Johnny. I think you're right. I mean, the NBA, that's a 90% reduction from 40 down to $4, by the way. So yeah, you can just tell it's like, whoa. Getting sidetracked there. But at the same time, they're good looking cookies, but at the same time, there's no way that I'm ever considering that. There is absolutely no way you would even think in this economy that you would even, much less even if you didn't have inflation as high as it is, you would never even think of buying a $40 box of cookies, right? I mean, at the end of the day, even if they did have the NBA logos on them, and they are some really cool logos.
If the Sixers go to the NBA Finals and I see it in the store and it's all Sixers logos and I'm having a party, maybe, but that's a special occasion. Like there's a time and place for it. But this is literally, hey, have some Oreo cookies, but we're gonna you're an NBA fan, so you're dumb enough to pay this money. That's basically what the NBA is saying. Like, our logos are so good that all you people basically are just gonna swipe this up because we gave them the licensing right to print our cookies to show what they were trying to do on the flip side. They want to put people's faces on it. And they want to. I get the niche of the candy company or the cookie company that is doing it, but the NBA, it seems really dumb that the NBA or any professional organization is involved with this, because it just, I don't know. This is an everyday price for cookies with NBA logos on it. I don't think people are that stupid.
No, I would hope not either. And, the fact that it's corresponding or it's being released around All-Star Weekend, where it's like, you've got the best players in the world coming together to play, an exhibition basketball game.
It makes sense marketing-wise, but it just doesn't make sense why the NBA would get involved. Like, why does the NBA need Oreo for viewership? It makes no sense. I understand why Oreo needs the NBA. I don't understand why the NBA needs Oreo.
Yeah, and especially when it comes to the fact that you're talking about creating a limited edition cookie that is $40. Like, a box of these things is $40. Like, I would think in order to market your franchise, you would want to create something, especially in an economy like this, where you want that supply to get out faster. Like, how about $6? That's more reasonable to me if it's a limited edition That would make more sense if you may increase a little bit of the price, but at least something where it's like you're making some money off of it.
Why not give them away at the game of your favorite?
That too.
Make a niche in Instagram, and make a niche where you would. I could see if the NBA was doing that, but this is a flop for the NBA because of the price. No one's going to want it.
No.
Economics 101. If the price is too high, no one's going to buy it.
No one's going to buy it, and I think they are definitely going to. I'd be shocked to see like if there's like, a high amount of demand.
I'm sure there's a niche group of people in this world that is going to buy. I totally get that. There are people with fun money, and this would be something. But I don't think this is a good move for the NBA at all.
No, I don't think so either. And the fact that it's only, fortunately, it's a limited edition. I don't think this is going to be on an ongoing rotational basis, but my God.
There'd be some stale-ass cookies.
Hey, by the way, if there was one NBA logo that you would want to eat, Johnny, of those cookies, which one would it be if you had to pick one?
Interesting.
Yeah. If you had a selection of the 30, which one would you want to eat the most?
I'm kind of
interesting.
I kind of like the Suns logo. We're just talking about what the best logos are. I'm a huge.
Yeah.
I love the Mavericks logo. I love the Spurs logo.
The Spurs logo is iconic. Yeah.
Big fan of the Rockets new logo. I think that one's really cool. Love the Sixers logo. I think it's one of the best.
Yeah.
Sacrilege for Philly. I like the Celtics logo.
Oh.
So I don't like the Celtics. I don't like the Celtics, but I do like their logo.
But their logo is classic,
Yeah.
I'd probably say Lakers. I mean, I've always liked the Los Angeles Lakers logo. I do too. But I mean, like going back in the day, like when Magic played for them is when I think of that.
I understand.
I'm
a huge
Bulls
Magic
too.
fan. I'm a Kobe fan. I'm a Jordan fan. I like really good basketball players. So yeah, definitely Bulls and Lakers. But God, I hate the Lakers. So
yeah, especially now. Yeah, that's for sure. Yeah. All right, Johnny. Well, here we go. Closing out with episode 125 of Two Noobs Talking. And how about we bash some electric vehicles, shall we?
Why not? Why not?
Since we're having fun with the Department of Transportation, we ought to talk about Ford. Our friends at Ford have halted production and shipments of the F-150 Lightning pickup truck due to a potential battery issue. Uh-oh. What do we got going on here, Johnny? So let's take a look. Ford Motor has paused production and shipments of its electric Ford or F-150 Lightning pickup due to a potential battery issue. The spokeswoman, Emma Berg, declined to disclose details of the possible battery issue, really, which is being investigated after a vehicle displayed a potential problem as part of the automaker's pre-delivery quality inspections. The stop shipment order and halt in production was issued at the beginning of last week. It adds to ongoing execution issues detailed to investors earlier this month by Ford CEO Jim Farley that crippled the automaker's fourth quarter earnings. Talk about the shares of Ford were going down about 1% mid-afternoon trading Tuesday of last week. They have not established a timeline for when production and shipments will resume. So they're doing their Lean 6. They're doing a root cause analysis, trying to figure out what the heck's going on here.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. Ford is unaware of any incidents or issues associated with the potential battery issue. There is no stop sale for vehicles already on dealer lots, which I wouldn't even touch at this point. Dealers can continue to sell vehicles they have on hand. The halt in production and shipments was first reported Tuesday by Motor Authority. And of course, it's the F-150 Lightning is being closely watched by investors, as it's the first Main Street electric pickup truck on the market and a major launch for Ford. And of course, there were also notable issues with General Motors Chevrolet Bolt's electric vehicles as well. GM 2 years ago had to recall all of the vehicles built up until then to address fire issues. Rare manufacturing defects being the main issue. The facilities of its battery supplier, LG Battery Station. So yeah, it's quite something. Johnny, what do you think about all of this, since you're working in the gas and oil industry?
Well, yeah, I'm completely on the other side of this. I hope they fail in everything that they do. It keeps me in business.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna quote our co-host, who is not with us right now, because the genius of what he said many months ago, I want to keep to the forefront of everything.
Yep.
Why not perfect the technology before you make the arbitrary deadlines? This is what happens when you make an arbitrary deadline in California. Now Ford thinks they have to rush their production because they're not going to be able to sell cars in California, which is a huge market for them. This is where government and people clash.
Yes.
Keeping cars available for people with bullshit arbitrary deadlines from the government causes these problems in production. They're forcing the production that now they have to stop production because they have an issue. The only one smart in this is that spokesperson, Emma, because she's not telling anybody anything, and that's smart when you have a problem like this. Like, figure it out before you run your mouth. The White House press secretary should probably learn a little bit from that lady. He's like, shut up before you know something. That's a good idea.
You think? Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, Newsom might want to also take notes of that too. Saying that in California, because I mean, he is single-handedly. I mean, I was reading somewhere that really California's power grid is not equipped to handle right now all of these electric vehicles out in their state. It's already stressing and straining their electrical power grid. Which, oh, by the way, you know, we're going to be heading into spring and summer, and I don't know about you, Johnny, but it could get pretty hot in California.
Yeah.
And so the constant rolling brownouts, blackouts during the heat and during the summer months, I mean, I don't know how much more Californians can put up with this. I know I would not want to. Even if I was a liberal, I would not want to be perfectly honest.
Well, that's going to run the news cycle in the summertime, like it always does in California.
It will.
It's a revolving door there. But that's what
it is.
That unbelievable, stupid move that California made to 3035 that you cannot sell a gas vehicle anymore. That put pressure on the car companies.
Yeah, big time.
And this is why they cause and effect. You're seeing the failure of that now because they had to ramp up production for the Ford Lightning, because not everybody's going to buy a shitty Prius. Nobody's going to buy a Volt. Like, not everybody's going to buy that one. They're going to want I got to trade in my diesel truck. I want my electric truck because I want people are fickle and they will stick to what they know. So if you're going to give them electric versions of that, you better get it right. And Ford isn't going to get it. It doesn't sound like they have a clue what they're doing.
I would say this too, Johnny. I think the root cause analysis that's going to be very interesting to see what exactly is the problem. I have a feeling it may have everything to do, just as an outside hunch. Of course, I'm not totally invested or totally involved. But root cause would have to be something in regards to the battery life. If the battery is not
temperature
the way
I think it's temperature. I think it's
I would agree.
A car moves in a different realm than a cell phone does. So lithium ion batteries in a cell phone are far easier to produce to where they won't explode. Yeah. I'm not an expert at this. I'm just saying a car and travel of a truck or a car, the battery sees more elements that are different.
Yeah. Oh, no question.
And I think that's the battery is definitely a problem. They said the battery is the problem. I think it has everything to do with the propulsion of the vehicle and the battery not liking.
We're also not talking about a hybrid here. We're not talking about the Prius, to your point. We're talking about a major truck here. This is a massive...
And the battery is
one of the biggest trucks in the country.
Yeah, and that battery is huge.
Oh, I can't even imagine having, like, that's not something you easily just like you could just replace really quickly, that kind of a deal. It's got to be like, I mean, and the amount, where do you dispose of it? That's another question that no one seems to have an answer to.
No.
Yeah, how do you dispose of these lithium ions? It's
There's
not
no
exactly something.
There's no political way, like there's no even nobody's talking about it because you can't, because there is no way to get rid of them. You think a $2,000 engine rebuild or putting in a gasoline car is expensive. Think about an $8,000 battery that is the size of an engine just to get one of those things to move in the same efficiency. That's a problem I have. I understand that we're going into a part of our lives where electric vehicles are going to be important. The thing I have a problem with is you can't replace one with the other. It just that's not a smart move. It really isn't. It has to be very gradual. It has to be 30, 40 years for it to work. And the technology has to be there. And the technology is not there. That's my problem with it. It's forced. It's politically forced, and that's what I don't like about it.
Yeah. And especially considering the fact that, let's face it, everybody is used to having some sort of electronic screen and all the bells and whistles that are inside of an interior car. You don't think that that's going to suck, you know what I mean? Like all of that life out of that battery?
Could you imagine running on a battery? Just everybody should think about their cell phones right now. Okay, just an older cell phone. I'm not talking about the iPhone 13 or that. Think about when you had the iPhone 10, right? And you had it for about 2 years, and you saw how it pulls and it needs to be charged more. Same thing with Androids. As they get older, they need to be charged more. So do you really think logically that you could run your cell phone, that you can run what do people run in their cars? Everything, their life. They have heated seats. They have navigation. They have all that. You're running that off of a battery that isn't even capable to run the car properly.
Exactly.
That's where the technology needs it. This battery needs to outperform an engine. And right now they do not have that capability. That does not exist.
Yeah. Will it exist? Probably in 20 years, possibly. Yes.
Absolutely.
But as of right now, no. And the fact that they're, to your point, and it's a brilliant one, the fact that the government is saying we must have these vehicles ready to go in 10 years when there has not been much in the way of existing technology fully researched. And again, it kind of brings up what you said in regards to what Steve said way back then. You don't have solid based evidence yet that the electric vehicle is going to continue on. This is just something that you just have to, by trial and error, and scientists will eventually farm this out. But my point is, you can't force it to happen. And that's the big issue that we've got going on right now with these electric vehicles. They're being shoved down everybody's throats. And it's like, it's not marketing affecting. Yeah, go ahead.
The marketing is far better than the manufacturing.
Yes.
That is what we're dealing with electric vehicles. Everybody wants to save the planet. Trust me. Nobody is. I mean, I'm sure there's people sitting in the corner that's like, fuck the planet. We don't care. But most people generally will do what it takes to help the planet, and will buy the electric car when it needs to happen, and we will be a part of that industry. They just don't. They're not even close to it. You're saying it.
Not even.
You're saying it every day.
You're seeing it happen
every article that's coming out. Yeah.
No question. Yeah, you're seeing all kinds of recalls and all kinds of issues right now, and that's, unfortunately, that's government not at work, in that regard. So it's like they're not thinking it all the way through.
It reminds me of Forrest Gump with the government and how they're acting right now. Stupid is as stupid does. That's what is happening. One thing is creating another thing that is creating another thing. They are really good at shitty cause and effect. That is what this administration does.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see what Ford's RCA, the root cause analysis, will come out to be.
Absolutely.
But in the meantime, I mean, it's a black eye literally, for really the automotive industry as they continue to struggle to get these EV vehicles out the door. And I think it's something where I think they've got to push back on Congress to say, we just don't have the technology yet. That's not to say that we won't, but at least for right now, there is no way that we can push this out the door within 10 years. There's just no way. You know, with all of the issues and all the recalls and all of the problems that they've been having with these things on fire, spontaneously combusting, we can't continue to go down these particular roads, no pun intended, until we get the technology up and running and we are able to dictate, okay, now we can support, here's how we do it, that kind of a deal. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, in any event, Johnny, that's it. Episode 125 of Two Noobs Talking is
we did it
and done with, bud. It's great to be able to talk with you, man. It's the OGs coming at you, of course. And Steve, wherever you are out there in Pittsburgh, we're hoping that you're having a good time, and we're looking forward to him coming back next week.
Yes, we'll see you next week. Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
totally.
Exactly.
I'll just be an idiot and
just dance on out of here. Until then, guys, talk to you all guys next week. Take care. Hey, everyone. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Two Noobs Talking. Not only can you listen to our entire catalog here on YouTube, but you can also download us on your favorite podcast listening platforms, such as Apple, Google, and Samsung podcasts, along with iHeartRadio and others. Have a great week, and we look forward to delivering another episode of Two Noobs Talking. Take care.